Folks, I hate to say I told you so, but after the win against OKC, we played a terrible first quarter. We came back and won. People were stoked. Hey, the Warriors are back. This is the team. Hey, here we go. Trending up, momentum, 2-game winning streak. We'll get a third against Phoenix and a fourth against Orlando. I had a bit more of a pessimistic video on that, and it's linked below if you want to watch it. If you didn't, saying you are what your average says you are. The Warriors are a 500 team. We don't string wins together, and usually we throw up a dud at some point. Well, last night against the Suns, we threw up a dud, folks. We lost that game 130 to 105. It was not close basically throughout the second quarter on. KD burned us. Booker burned us. Steph Curry did not have himself a good game. Barely shot the ball in the first half. Across the board, the Warriors did not play particularly well, giving up 130 points at home on a Friday night when you had a couple of days break. Why? Because you are what your average says you are. You're a 500 team, folks. Randy Silver, Warriors Digest. Please like and subscribe. We break down all the Warriors news for you. We're going to have a quote from Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, box scores below. We're going to have a little bit deeper dive into it. And Steph Curry talking about trade deadline, which is 5 days away now, this Thursday, February 6th. Welcome to February, folks. Month 2 of 2025. We talked about this. You are what your average says you are. And the Warriors are a mediocre team. Without Draymond, without Kuminga, for sure, everyone has to step up. And if Wiggins is not shooting the ball, lights out. Brandin Podziemski made a couple of big threes, counteracting KD. Moody played solid defense, but across the board, the rest of the team just did not bring their A game, the best game they could. And then you're going to lose the game. But the biggest thing to start with, folks, I'm going to start with something unique that we don't usually start with here. So let me pull it up. We're going to go to the play-by-play. I'm going to pull up my screen for you. Because the talk of the town is Steph Curry. So if we go to Warriors players, Steph and Curry, first quarter, he had one shot in the first quarter. That's not good enough. Who's the best player for the Suns? Is it Devin Booker maybe? Look how many shots he had. What about KD? Look how many shots he had. This is where not having Kuminga, having Draymond Green hurts the Warriors because of the pick and roll, the screens, the slashing helps Steph Curry create the offense. If we go to the second quarter, a bit more. Durant only had 2 shots in the second quarter, but still more across the first half. Curry 0 of 2 from 3. If you look at Booker, a lot more. So going into halftime, the game's got to be get Curry the ball. If you look right here, folks, Warriors were down 3 after 1 and then down 11 at halftime. So get Curry the ball, right? A little bit better. 5 shots, but the bleed got worse and worse, and they took him out, and he didn't look like he was his best. Booker, 4 shots, and then you go to KD. He was rocking and rolling. He was talking to Gary Payton Sr. in the crowd. Go look that up on Twitter. In the fourth quarter, game was out of hand. KD ain't even playing at this point because it's out of hand. Booker made a couple of shots. Maybe KD did play. He didn't need to score. So the question is, folks, why is Curry starting so slow? Steve Kerr, head coach, you've had him for over a decade. We gotta make changes, right?
The Steph, how much do you miss Draymond being able to screen him open, or is it more than that?
Yeah, Draymond is obviously a great player, and the connection that he has with Steph, he knows how to get Steph the ball and get him shots, get him free. I thought that was part of the problem in the first half. I think Steph had 5 shots at halftime, and we weren't finding ways to get him the ball. I've got to do a better job of that. But Draymond will help when he comes back for sure.
Yes, he will, because the pick and pop, Draymond can play point guard at point center, point power forward, and they do the pick and roll where he either rolls with it or he'll do the fake roll, gets him open, helps out, just a little bit less pressure on Steph. But again, Steph Curry, create your shot, score. Teams are double teaming him, so they're expecting this to happen as well. So the question becomes then, Draymond Green, when are you coming back? And we do have an update from Steve Kerr that he shared before the game.
He scrimmaged today, and he will practice with us tomorrow, and we're expecting him to play next week sometime. Not sure which game, but we'll see how he comes out. But he scrimmaged and did fine, so he's on the right track.
That is good news to hear. On the right track. We need them back. I know people in the comments say they don't want him, etc., but he plays good defense, team leader, talks, and we don't have many better players on this team. Warriors are not going to trade Draymond. He's too vital to this team in terms of what he's meant, unless he asks for a trade. Now, speaking of trades, trade deadline, we talked about Steph Curry. What are your thoughts on the Warriors making the trade? Because you're a 500 team.
Only real difference is you're another year away from the 22 years, so it's a little less of a, I think every trade deadline since has been a little uneasy, but the further you get away from winning, it becomes a little bit more of a sense of urgency. So it's the NBA, nothing different than guys have experienced before. You have to be able to play through it, keep confidence, understand there's so many things you can control. So just play basketball.
Steve made a comment pregame that just considering where you are, it's unwise to at least just stay pat. Obviously, Mike's going to make the choices. We've had these conversations, but are you hoping that something happens?
It's not for me to make those decisions. I mean, I want to win. So whatever it means to do that.
And folks, I'm actually happy he said that. It's not for me to make those decisions. Yes, you want your star player to say something, but if he says yes, then that means he wants one of his teammates to be traded, or not saying I want a teammate traded, but if we make a trade, that means someone on our team is going, unless it's specifically just draft picks, which probably isn't going to happen. So that's hard for him to say, because then he's putting himself in a position where people are like, uh-oh, maybe I'm the one out. So I get as a team captain, you don't want to say that, but maybe he's having conversations behind the scenes. I like what he said about the farther away you get from championships, you have to make some changes, or if the trade deadline gets more condensed, because when you look at the roster, Wiggins been in talks. Obviously, Dennis came in the trade. GP2 expiring contract. Looney expiring contract. Buddy's not playing up to his contract anymore. Anderson is a nice piece, but I don't think they're going to trade that unless they really have to. Kuminga in the final year of his deal. Moody, young player, just signed up. BP is still on the young contract. Lindy Waters has fallen out of the lineups. TJD in and out of it. And then Santos is playing decent. But those small contracts aren't going to be worth a lot when you need to get 20, 30 million. But the Warriors need to do something, folks, because right now, again, we've broken it down. Warriors are not a play-in team anymore. Kings are right above them. But if you win 3 or 4 in a row, you're out of the play-in. You're a playoff team. So you're right there. It would be negligent of this team not to do something to move it because it's so close. If it was more spread out, then maybe. But there's something here you can do for sure when you look at this across the board. We played some good teams well, so you know you have it. Was the Mirage, we were 12-3. But at the end of the day, folks, you have to play good basketball. And when you're giving up 31 points to Devin Booker, 19 points to Durant, Nick Richards gets 14. Off the bench, Beal 21. Nurkic didn't even play. Maybe he's going to come to us. Obviously, you probably know the news about him. I don't think so because of him and Draymond's history. But they gave up 19-39 from 3, 50% to the Suns. We made 16. It's hard to win a game when they make 14 more shots. They make 3 more threes, 50%. We did make more free throws. We both shot 68%. But you're not going to win those games. We won the turnover battle, which is big, but points in the paint, even without their main big man, and threes, you're not going to win that game. And that's why you are what your average says you are. When we beat OKC, you don't get too high because a game like this comes to a team who's 500, and it shouldn't. One more game in the homestand. OKC. Orlando, who's pretty injured. We need that win. You're on the road for about 4 or 5 games, and then this All-Star break. Trade deadline is Thursday, so please subscribe. We give you everything you need to know. We're keeping you updated, multiple videos a day as needed. Until then, bye, y'all.